thought I'd make a video about a subject that's not pertaining to the rank politics of our situation these days. I know it gets a little old, but I'm not gonna lie, it is kind of fun to sit there and scream at the camera about how, you know, these branch COVIDians and these vaxxers and everything are doing their damnedest, it would seem at least, to run civilization into the ground. So I thought, you know, why not take a deep breath or two, take a seat, and talk about something that has been such an immense help to me in my life that it borders on impossible to describe, especially when you compare it to a lot of the mainstream remedies for, you know, malice or malaise rather, not going as far as you want, not having the life that you want. I mean, it truly is a staggering cost to value ratio, and I mean that in every sense of the word. So, I mean, those of you that know me a bit better, you know that I come from a pretty fucked up background. A lot of us do, and depending on how intense it was for you, you probably have an idea of the sort of weight that you carry with you, the sort of all the extra work that you have to do, you know, to sort of catch up to a normal person. You know, think of it as a sprint or a race. Everybody starts at the front line, and you know, you start fucking 10 yards back, and you got a lot of catching up to do before you're up there, you know, at par with people that didn't start so far behind. And one of the two things that I've attempted to pursue to better my situation was, like a lot of people, unfortunately, pursue college. So another one would be talk therapy, cognitive behavioral therapy, those sort of things. I mean, there's a myriad of different schools of treatment that you can pursue. I will probably make a video at some point about how they're all bullshit. You know, psychology alone is enjoying a reproducibility crisis where all the, you know, all the studies and information they have pertaining to all of their core tenets, they can't even be reproduced. It should be no mystery to you that plenty of people have, let's say, a bachelor's degree that they spent 5 years getting. Let's say that they spent $60,000 in tuition on, that they missed out on making at least $30,000 a year for those 6 years. I mean, we're talking, you know, $200,000-$300,000 these people spend in order to make 40 or 50 grand a year. To me, that's a fucking travesty and a ripoff of epic proportions, especially when you consider the ramifications for young women, especially family formation, all this other shit, you know, kind of coming together and explaining why the West is kind of crumbling around us. But that's neither here nor there for the individual. And so, as I'm sure you gleaned from the title, I'm going to talk specifically about my experience with Bryan Casella's coaching and mentorship program called Modern Success. So, who is BC, as we call him? Short name, moniker, whatever. So he's a real estate agent, primarily, I guess, from Los Angeles. At least that's how he got his start. Does a lot more stuff now. And really just knocked it out of the park with everything. You know, when it never ceases to amaze me how much you can accomplish if you truly work hard and appreciate and apply all the things that you need to in order to provide value at the level that you have to in order to get to the point where he's kind of at. So, you know, at face value, it's like, wow, so you're literally trying to say that, you know, a Facebook group you paid to join 3 years ago did better than getting some worthless fucking degree or going and wasting a 5-figure sum on therapists. And it's like, yeah, dude, it really did. It really did. And it's like, just to sit here and pick out individual examples, it's like so many are just coming to my mind because it's just unbelievable how much that sort of organization, that sort of hands-on training, that sort of all the products he offers for the different types of ways to, let's say, get business or deal with different types of seller clients or buyer clients. I mean, never ever overlook the value of having somebody who you can, I mean, even just the occasional question once a week, maybe once every other week, it can make the biggest difference. I mean, I spent 9 months sitting there jerking off, wasting time doing, you know, just trying to figure it all out on my own. And, you know, a single lecture with the group, one of my first, and it was like, you know, holy shit. But I mean, and it doesn't even come down to just the sales training that you get. That's important, but that's a bit more ubiquitous than you would expect, particularly when you're being an agent. But it's like, on top of the direct training, you get all these people from all over the country that are kind of on a similar, I call it like a psycho class, right? They're this similar type of people. You know, and for me personally, I went through my life with a bunch of normie, conformie, inferior just that. And it's like, geez, what am I going to find? Do people even exist that are like me, that are of this sort, that have this sort of drive, these goals, and I found it, man. It's like now the people I've met through doing this, I mean, we've got friendships that'll probably last a lifetime, connections all over the country, an absolutely fantastic time, like I said, twice a year when we go and have our meetups in some metropolitan cool place. I think the last one, that was on a fucking rooftop in Miami. I mean, when you grow up in Marysville and Port Huron, Michigan, in the middle of bumfuck in the center of the shitty Midwest, when you hear rooftop anything, you're like, what? So to go there and then not only have this fabulous venue, fucking share all the all the people that he brings for speaking, all the information they provide, doing all the networking, talking with like-minded people. I mean, now you normies, you probably don't really understand what I'm talking about, because you can, fucking throw a stone and come across somebody you have a fine time interacting. It's not like that for me and a lot of high-performing people, I guess you could say. And so it ends up putting you in a position where it's like, wow, this is like really fucking lonely, because, you find people you get along with, but not on this level. It's an interesting phenomenon I've noticed where it's like, if you find somebody, let's say on social media, and you kind of get into their content, whatever you like what they have to say, you start applying those things, getting the results and whatnot, you'll find that other people that are attracted to that individual end up, kind of being of your same sort, which is just, it's a really cool thing. Like fans of Fat Gay Retard Vosh, I'm sure they get along great. But it's just been absolutely incredible. Take somebody who, let's say, goes to talk therapy for, I don't know, fucking a cumulative 10-year span and spends, let's say $15,000 on the conservative end, and hours chatting with these people who are all jerk-offs, hours just driving to the different spot, going there, sitting there, and then you compare all that money and all that time to the small monthly fee that I pay to be a part of this group, and the results that you get. So it's so inverse and mere opposite of each other that it's staggering that this is pushed to me as a way to go about fixing yourself, because it's really easy to sit there and just talk with a therapist endlessly about your problems. Funnily enough, it's also easier to just pop pills. What's hard is going out there, taking action, making decisions, doing risks, and that is what's going to lead you away from this, I think largely fake crisis of depression. And when you think about how, okay, I met these people, I met this guy, I applied a lot of what he said for this much money and spent this much time doing it, and I get, let's say, this much fucking results, if you combine the money that I spent on therapists and going to, let's say, I don't know, I got an associate's degree. I mean, those two things alone, we're talking about a 5-year, $100,000 at least in outright costs, opportunity costs, this, that, and the other, because it's like, I could have just been actually working at what I've been doing for the last 3 years while I was in, the collegiate environment, and I would actually have something to show for it, like I do now. I'm not going to have to get a job as a long-term solution to supporting myself ever again. I can do things now that I never even dreamed were possible for me to do, and it's because of the training, direction, connections, everything that BC provides through his group. And I really want to kind of return to what I mentioned earlier about how there's an astonishing amount of bullshit gurus out there. I mean, anything that has to do with multi-level marketing, you obviously know that's bullshit. All these other guys, like Dave Ramsey, he's an excellent example. I mean, the guy has plenty of good advice, but again, if you're outside of the normie, conforming, inferior sphere, a lot of it's not going to do very good. And I've heard Dave Ramsey tell guys, they'll call in and be like, hey, should I pay for my girlfriend's $100,000? It's like, no, you idiot. Find a girl that doesn't cost $100,000. But he'll say, yeah, pay for it. It's like, how fucking stupid can you be? So you've got Dave Ramsey, you've got all these other guys. And the takeaway is that what you don't want to do is what I did for many years, and what I know people in my life today do still, is just, it's just some stupid group. He's just a liar. Everything's fake. I'm just going to sit in my shitty life and never progress, and then act like I'm confused as to why I'm miserable all the time. It's just so fucking ridiculous. So if you look hard enough, if you do the right research, you will find that a lot of the people that run these groups, in fact, are legit. And I don't care if you are, some teetotaling 4.0, whatever, like the exact opposite of me. I guarantee you there's a networking group out there with somebody that's at a higher level than you in whatever you want to do that you can seek out and, take something that would have taken you 10 or 15 years to figure out and condense that down to 3 to 5 years. So, even just being on camera right now is another example of what getting involved with Modern Success kind of led me to. I wouldn't be doing this if it wouldn't have been for suggestions and different lines of arguments, I guess you could say, that BC made as to why making video is so important. And it's not just from a financial standpoint. I mean, you guys, if you've been watching this whole time, thanks for sticking around, but you probably remember that stupid old fuck I cussed out at the polls just down the road. I would have never been able to do that if I wouldn't have got into sales, or that dumb bitch over in St. Clair Township, I believe it was, who, I called her a dumb bitch because she was and still is. And she's sitting there she must have been down the road with how long it took her to get there. I would have never been able to have that sort of interaction and then put it on the internet for everybody else to enjoy, and sure, you can sit here and say, oh, cool, well, financially everything's taken care of, but being able to do that, period, have those kind of interactions with people that start shit, have those kind of interactions where, people that are demonstrably in the wrong get crushed like the fucking scum they are, it gives you a level of personal empowerment and efficacy. Just kind of struggling for a good word choice there, but I think you get what I'm saying. When you move through your everyday life with that sort of, I don't want to say fearlessness, but with that knowledge that you don't have to, hunch down and bow down to the most irrational, worthless bully out there. You don't have to do that. You can do what you want. You can be who you want to be. And the funny thing to me is you see so many people talking about how it's important to be yourself, which I think is retarded advice, but at the same time they shovel all this libtard propaganda in your face that necessarily, reduces you as a human, reduces the personal power that you have, reduces the efficacy in the world that you have, this, that, and the other. And it's like, dude, you can't, it's almost priceless, just the day-to-day. And it's not like my life's perfect. I got a lot of shit to improve. We all do. I'm going to continue doing that. But if I compare my mental world today to how it was even 5 or 6 years ago, I mean, the difference is staggering. Again, if you know me, it may not be as apparent. I think it depends on the person. But it's just absolutely incredible. Little things that I wasn't able to do, like just going to a new a place where there's people and just walking up to, just instantly, boom, starting a conversation. I couldn't do that for most of my life. And and you think, oh, okay, well, whatever, you can talk to people. Well, you're missing the fucking point here, because it's not just a simple matter of, oh, schmoozing and making friends. No. If you can do that basic thing that a lot of people can't do, of walking up and starting a conversation with a stranger and holding it fluidly and doing all this and being pleasant to interact with, that opens so many doors that it will boggle your mind. If you do that with 100 people per week, you can't tell me that you're not going to have a huge clientele basis, a great group of friends, the woman of your dreams, whatever. And just being able to get the training, get the direction, see the results from somebody that's at a way higher level than me for the price that I got it for, and the price, which is more than I paid for, that it's available now, it's fucking mind-blowing. I think it's $2,000 for the year now. I think. So what else do you go, what else can you spend $2,000 on or a few $1,000s on that takes your life from mediocre to now you're on the path to get what you want? Those sort of things, that kind of value add just doesn't fucking exist. So that's about it for off the cuff. I don't know if I have anything else. What? Oh, yeah. So that's about it. Even if you're not in real estate, I definitely suggest maybe looking into Modern Success. It might be a fit for you. We have plenty of people in the group that are not in real estate. If you have questions about it, want more proof, whatever, I'd be happy to sit and engage with you about that. But what I want the key takeaway here to be is don't throw the baby out with the bathwater. If you're around my age especially, you can probably remember people, especially when the internet was a lot smaller, who just in this pig ignorant stupidity rankly dismiss anything they hear about online. Oh, well, you heard that online. It must be bullshit. Really? What the fuck about the TV makes it so that it's all authoritative and on point all the time? Nothing. You're just a fucking idiot. So if you know anybody in your life that's like, oh, well, you heard about that online, just write them off. They're worthless. Probably holding you back more than you realize. So, yeah, I mean, if anything else comes to mind about the program or the benefits therein, I'll be sure to make a follow-up video or something. But yeah, just don't. It is. I was talking with a buddy of mine about it just on the phone last night because, you know, I'm reading this book on the history of marriage, very heartwarming despite being written by some libtard idiot. She does a pretty good job of, you know, keeping her toxic feminist bullshit out of the writing, but, you know, it used to be so fucking hard for people to get started back in the day that they had civic dowry funds. That they, you know, women, it was called a trousseau. Women would have a chest of all the household goods that they would start collecting as like teenagers and shit. You know, that they're not going to just so they can have something to get started with. Now, you can take a smartphone like the one I've been talking into. You don't even need a car. You can have a fucking bicycle. And you can go deliver food for, let's say, Uber Eats. You can snap your fingers and get income like that. And we have people out here who are sitting around, you know, perpetually playing video games, jerking off, living shit lives, wasting staggering amounts of time pursuing degrees, and it's just like, yo, you don't have to do that. So, I don't know. Hopefully this has been entertaining. I think I'm going to crank out another one while the fire's still going, and it died. So, we'll get that fixed and come at you with another one.